Hello everyone, I'm Dro and welcome back to the Redstone tutorial number 12. And today we're going to talk about droppers and dispensers. So what are droppers? Droppers are blocks that you can place sideways or upwards or also downwards like this. And they have an inventory containing 9 spaces. And dispensers are pretty much the same in this regard. So they can also be placed in any direction and also have 9 spaces of inventory. Now, what happens if we power them? We get whatever item is inside. And when we have different items inside, then it'll give us randomly any of those. So it also doesn't matter if we have only 1 here and 64 here. That will also be, or every time it will be a chance of a half or 50%. And like this, it would be 100%. Like this, we would get 2/3 for the large fern and so on and so forth. So what we need to know also for the powering is that they can be powered in the same way that pistons can be powered. So that means they are also affected by quasi-connectivity. And that means we can power them by doing this. And also, when they are powered already through this torch, through quasi-connectivity, they won't do anything when we power them again, because they are already powered. Now, quasi-connectivity also means that if the block 2 blocks above or diagonally across, for example this one, that could also be this one, or this one, or when one of these is powered, then it'll also not give us anything. So that is a bit weird, and I don't really understand the reasoning. I mean, with pistons you could argue, well, you need it for some applications, but I don't really understand it here. Now again, what this also means is that we can power a dropper or a dispenser through a repeater that points into the air like this. So usually this would work, but this would work also with a dispenser and a dropper. So this will give us a cool application, but yeah, it's just something to keep in mind if you want to run, for example, a repeater line over droppers. Anyway, let's talk about dispensers, because they are they don't really have an effect on redstone. They are just for interfering with the outer world, I guess. So just an output block. If we have a bucket of water in them, then we can dispense that and retract that again. Those are probably not the right words for water, but anyway. They can give us armor, but also they can equip armor onto us, like this. When we stand right in front of them, they can put minecarts onto rails. They can shoot any sort of projectile. That could also be arrows or snowballs or ender pearls as well, but they don't have an effect, I guess. What we can also do is bone meal crops. Stupid wooden button. We can also ignite fire with a flint and steel, and some more applications. That's just an example of what they can do. Now, and this is basically all dispensers can do. So they're really cool in some ways, but not used really often inside of redstone builds. Now let's go over the droppers. So what you see, we have an item in here and no item in here. What they can do if they are facing another inventory, that can also be a brewing stand or anything really, they will transfer their item into the other inventory, which is very useful. And also we can use that to transfer items upwards like this, which we couldn't do with the hoppers. But let's see some applications for this, because this is really cool and useful. What we have here is, you might recognize this. This is also quasi-connectivity here. We have items in here, and because we are powering with this repeater this dropper, and with this repeater this dropper, and so on and so forth, we can make a very, very quick item transporter. Much quicker than the hoppers. So yeah, just a quick application for this. Doesn't get used really often, I believe. At least I haven't used it, so just something to keep in mind, that this will still power this one if it has a repeater, a block, or whatever in front of it. Now, what we can also do with using a dropper facing a hopper is make a monostable circuit, rising edge. And what happens is just we have an item in here that gets shot into there, gets shot, and then it immediately gets sent back. So yeah. Also a nice application is an RS latch. We can this way store information, basically. This is a bit different from the torch RS latch, because what happens if we leave this one powered and then power this one, then it gets reset, except for which wouldn't happen with the torch one. So a small difference right there. Next up, we can make a T flip-flop using an item that gets shot into there and then gets sent back into the other one. Now, what we have to keep in mind here is that if we power this one, nothing will happen, because what happens is the item gets shot into there and then directly afterwards gets shot upwards because of the processing order of Minecraft. So we have to be a bit careful when we use that. And to be honest, I haven't really used that or used this design very often. So it's just something to keep in mind that this exists. I can't really talk today. And also a really nice application for this. You see, this is kind of like a monostable, but we're using a lever. We could also use a button, that doesn't really matter. If we have an unstackable and a stackable item, we can make a sort of randomizer. So you see, we have only a signal strength of 1. Again. And now we have a signal strength of 3. So either the light turns on or not, and that way we can make a very easy randomizer. And yeah, this is basically all I can show you, or I want to show you today. My task for you is, we want to have a dispenser, a dropper, that if it is full, will trigger a clock that periodically powers the dispenser, the dropper, as long as there are items in there, meaning that it just that it gets more empty every time, and once it's empty, we want the clock to turn off. So we want to make a quick item disposal system. And the other task is, we want to transfer items upwards. So there are numerous ways to do this, and I'm gonna include a few in the solution in the description. So yeah, I would like it if you try that. And yeah, this has been everything. So thank you very much for watching. I have been Dro. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please give a like if you enjoyed it, if you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.